Hey, Circle, start a chat with Logan, please.
Oh, hey, Jordyn.
Hey.
Oh, I love being in the circle, and we had such a good chat with Sean the other day. Maybe we should invite someone else today. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Circle, add Lana to our group chat. Yes, Lana.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. Well, welcome to the Fallout Geometric Edition, where we are your number one source for the fallout of all your favorite reality TV shows. Today, reviewing episodes 3 and 4 of The Circle US. I'm Logan Murphy.
I'm Jordyn Lagace.
And I am Lana.
Yes, Lana! Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm great. I cannot complain. I'm very excited to be here because I got a lot to talk about. Because
there's a lot to talk about. We got 2 really, really good episodes of The Circle, and they have me on the edge of my seat waiting for the next episodes plural to drop. But before we get started, if you're watching with us live or after the fact on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing to Jordyn's channel, liking, commenting, sharing, doing all those things. If you're listening to us after the fact, wherever fine podcasts can be listened to, make sure you're doing the exact same, following, liking, giving us some comments, sharing, telling everyone that this is the number one place for all of the fallout. And yes, Lana.
Yes. Oh, I was agreeing with you.
Work. And with that being said, let's get into the first of the crazy episodes. So we start episode 3 with the fallout of the first blocking. Unfortunately, we just don't get to learn any more about breath work, Lana.
I was very much into finding out how breathwork works, how I could incorporate it in my life. So because he was like, Bryant made it look so like inviting, like you want to do it. It keeps you stress free. It helps you balance and center yourself. And I'm like, I want to be centered. I want to be balanced. I want to be stress free. And then they cut him out. I was bummed for that because he was such a genuine dude. Just
And I loved his exit video as well.
Me too.
The line that sort of hit me especially was what you are at the core connects us all.
Yes.
And sort of this transcendent moment beyond the circle itself, and like whether you're playing as a catfish or like a real person, like we are all connected in this experience and in this moment. And I was just like, I honestly, and thank you, Lana, for being on my side, because last time there was a lot of Bryant hate going on in our episode on Friday. You can go check it out on YouTube and all the other podcasting places. But there was a lot of Bryant hate. I had to be the Bryant defender. But yeah, Jordyn, what did you think about sort of the fallout of the Bryant blocking in his video and all that?
I really like how he did his video. It made him come off very genuine. I still have no idea what the technique to breath work is. Ryan, if you see this, come on and show us how to breath work.
I would love that. I want to learn. I want to learn everything so I can.
That'd be great.
Because maybe I've been breathing wrong this whole time. That's my problem.
Right?
I've been breathing wrong this whole time.
Wrong way to breathe.
Breathing wrong. Yeah. I've been breathing wrong almost 24 years of my life. Apparently, I need to learn more.
You need to learn more. I feel like Bryant did he did what he was supposed to do in this game, and he made everybody stop and realize, like, hey, even though this is a game and all this is go get crazy, sometimes we have to just stop and breathe and remember what connects us. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter if you're catfishing or anything. You are, what you are at the core is the most important, and that's what you want to portray in this game. So I hope everybody listens to that and remembers that throughout their journey in the circle.
We just don't see that many people like Bryant on shows like this. And so I appreciated having that sort of like personality on this season. And we get a lot more personality coming out in the circle chat that we get in the morning before our next lovely Circle House guest moves in. Savannah is #devastated, y'all. Not really. Tara Alicia says that she did not want to see him go. Chloe's confused as usual. It's just a big old day in the circle. And I found it, I didn't, not necessarily love, but I found it interesting that we get this insinuation from Tara Alicia that Bryant's walking with Savannah's decision. What do we think about sort of Tara Alicia pushing a lot of it onto Savannah?
Pushing it onto Savannah was strategy.
I feel like it was strategy, but partially true, because Sarah Alicia was like, I don't want Brian to go. She verbally said, I don't want Brian to go. And Savannah was like, well, if not Brian, then it's probably going to be Chloe, who also Tara Alicia didn't want to see go at that point. And she just made the insinuation that if it wasn't Brian, she didn't have a connection with Brian, and so she didn't want Brian to go, or River. So she was just like, I feel like the people who she wanted to go kind of was the people who Tara Alicia didn't want to go. And then Tara Alicia was like, but why not Court? That whole thing right there. And so in Tara Alicia's defense, she didn't want Brian to go, and she was, like trying to actively push for him not to go. And Savannah was like, I kind of don't have any of that connection with him, so he can go. She still could have been devastated that he went, but she was the one saying it's okay for him to go.
Yeah,
those watching live with us right now, what did you guys think of this? Was it strategy or was it truth?
Or a little bit of both. Yeah,
or a little bit of both.
Yeah, let us know in the chat, in the comments, all that kind of stuff. And oh my God, you guys, Lance Bass is moving into the circle. Oh my God, yeah. Wait. Oh, it's Lisa.
Okay.
I like Lisa though.
Okay. Can I pop in on this for a second?
Please. Absolutely.
Anybody who knows me, you may not know, but NSYNC is like my heart and soul, my favorite group ever. And when they said Lance Bass was coming into the house, I did not believe it for a second, because as a NSYNC fan who follows almost everything about NSYNC and knows NSYNC, knows Lance Bass has said several times he's a reality star fan. He likes Big Brother. He likes, reality shows. He was asked to do Celebrity Big Brother twice, and he turned it down because he said he doesn't feel like he could put himself out there like that, in that way, on television after being in the industry for so long. He said singing on stage is one thing, but actually having to live my life in front of the camera and just live life is something that freaks him out. So when they said Lance Bass, I was like, really? Circle? Is this what we doing?
Did, as an avid NSYNC fan, have you seen Lisa around?
Yes. She is definitely who she says she is. She is his personal assistant, and she has been there with him throughout this entire time. She's a friend of his family from a long time ago. So, when she popped up, I was like, I've seen her. I know her. So, yeah, she is that one. But I wasn't surprised that it wasn't Lance, but seeing that it's her, I'm like, she could actually pull this off because she knows so much about Lance.
Mm-hmm. That's actually one of the big reasons I wanted to have you on for this, Lana, because I knew how much of an NSYNC fan you were, and so just getting your input, especially as Lisa's moving into the circle, is obviously very, very, very helpful. But yeah, so we get Lisa, 42 from LA. Like Lana said, she's been Lance's personal assistant for almost 15 years. And I love her so far. I'm just gonna say, like, I don't think she's playing the best game, and we'll get to that when we get into the brunch with Bass. But I like her
she
as
didn't
a
handle
person.
brunch with Bass very well.
No, she didn't handle brunch with Bass well at all. I was like, I had so many things that I was like, you could have said so many other things. Even if you're trying to joke about what she said, like, there's so many other things she could have said in that moment.
We'll get there. But I will say, I want to move into Lisa's apartment. That's the apartment I want to move into. Lana, question, because we talked about this in our episode on Friday. Whose apartment would you want to live in?
I don't know, because I like Lisa's apartment. Like, she had really one of the good ones. And I also like Tara Alicia's apartment. It's something about that side where the TV is off. I don't know which side it on, but I like those apartments, like where it's off that way. So hers, Lisa's, and the Lisa's. Theirs, I like.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
But see, I can't wait if they go do a double. Like, I love it when the circle does two people. Those are the apartments I like the best, is when there's two people in the house.
I'm interested to see if they're going to do any doubles, because we have so few episodes. And we'll get there when we talk about the previews for the next bunch of episodes that we're getting. But we get two people moving in. It doesn't look like they're in the same apartment. And whoever the woman is, that's the style of apartment that I like. It's like you walk in, the bedroom's on the right side, and you get the big living room, and then the kitchen's on the side. That's the like circle style apartment I like personally.
I agree.
But yeah, since we're talking about brunch with Bass, it's literally the next thing that happens. Lance enters the circle, and immediately we get a few comments from Lisa saying that, she likes Savannah. River is too cool for Lance, even though Lee is maybe a bigger NSYNC fan than Lana. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking it might be. It's a little comparable.
His fangirl thing was really.
I felt it. I understood it, because I would have been like, wait. Any moment I get a chance to live in NSYNC's world, I'm like, okay. So I understood it. I understood it.
But as a fan, I think he'll have a better shot at maybe clocking Lisa.
He should. If he's really thinking about it.
I think he will, and I think Delisa will as well. Because I think Delisa was the first person that was kind of like, I don't know if this is Lance. But yeah, so there's some common interests with Emily, and I didn't know that Lance Bass was training to be a cosmonaut either. I guess I just don't follow Lance Bass close enough. I definitely follow him on like social media and everything, but I thought that was kind of cool. Chloe's still being confused.
Chloe stays confused.
I love Chloe. I'm not gonna lie.
I love her too.
I love her from Too Hot to Handle, but I love her being the, like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, strategy. Oh my gosh, gameplay. Oh my gosh, alliances. And Chloe's just like, what a little fucking bitch. Like, just providing the entertainment that I knew she would on this season.
I loved that comment. Like, what a fucking little bitch.
Also, what's NSYNC? I was like, how have... Like, she's around my age, but like, how have you not heard of NSYNC?
The NSYNC.
That's just what I want to know. That's just what I want to know.
The fan in me was like, "Are you crazy? What? But I understand. But I understand. I'm like, everybody might not know. Everybody just might not know. So I can't get mad. But I still love Chloe. I think she definitely is giving me all the entertainment that I want, and like she's saying everything, and honestly she's playing this game really well to me because she's like people are like she's clocking stuff and she's seeing things, but she's playing the game in the chats like, oh yeah, we're great, this is great, but to the camera she's like, no, this why like I love
she definitely doesn't have 100% grasp on what's happening, but within her little bubble and the people that she's kind of like talking to and aligning herself with specifically, she's getting the gist. And we'll get to that when we talk about like the Chloe and Emily chats with Terralisha and Savannah separately. Like that's a big other thing.
Yeah.
And we already kind of talked about the prize money question that Terralisha asked. Honestly, if Lisa had just said NSYNC tour, laughing crying emoji, just kidding, I would donate. Just kidding, I would donate. Like that's all you needed to say.
That's all she had to say.
And she was so concerned about making the joke, and then the joke just didn't land, and literally Circle Chat ended right after that, and I was like, Circle's shady for that one, not letting anyone respond.
Right. I was like, all she had to do was say ... JK, crying, half laughing emoji. Of course I would donate it because
googly
people
eyes or something.
Right, like of course I
think
would donate
Circle
it.
Chat knew that she had like did fucked up and was like, let's not let Lisa recover.
Close it right now.
Horrible. We get like a big series of chats going on before we get into Circle Fest. But I also just want to say, what kind of workout is Courtney doing? And I would like to talk about it for maybe the rest of the podcast. What is this wiggling in the air, jumping around workout? Like, if that's a genuine workout that can like help you lose weight, by all means, like, Courtney, let me know. But like, what is this like flopping like a fish everywhere? Like, what is happening?
I'm
That's
confused.
the workout we call used car salesman lot worm.
Yes, the worm. Yes.
I just got caught out of water, fish out of water, just like.
Yeah,
so weird to me.
Something.
Oh, it is something else. But yeah, so we get a series of conversations going into Circle Fest. We get a conversation with Emily and Trevor about it's like a football related chat, both being East Coasters. Delisa fully has to be like, who's Saquon? Like that whole situation, which I was like, I'm so glad Trevor gave her notes on the Giants, because otherwise that would have just completely ruined her game. So I'm happy about that. And then they talk about family. But at the end of this conversation, Trevor is like, I think Emily's a guy. And I'm like, Delisa has the best read on this game. Like, she has clocked every single person for who they are within a few individual messages. And I'm just like, I think if Trevor makes it far, Trevor could win. Just because she has such a grasp on like who is real and who isn't. And I love that she has that ability.
Kind of tell, and we'll get into it in the rankings portion, but you could also kind of see where she looks like Trevor is in a very good position.
Absolutely. Yeah. We get a quick River and Lance chat because Lee can't contain the fangirl, but has to be like, River's never heard of Lance. And I'm just like, I love Lee. I'm gonna say it again. I love Lee. I love this sort of like innocent but also strategic way of playing the circle. And we see that we have seen that in the Circle UK with some of the older contestants who have been in by themselves. They typically go for like, I'm gonna try to be strategic, but also just like not really know what's happening, regardless of whether they're playing as themselves or someone else. So The one I kind of think of immediately is Nana Dot from UK3. I get sort of a similar vibe with what Lee's doing. Not necessarily playing as an older person, but sort of having that perspective. And I think those could be similar. I see a similar trajectory with River. I think River will make it far, but I don't think River will make the final. It's kind of where I'm thinking.
I agree.
But in this conversation, River tells Lance that Tara Alicia saved him, and so Lisa's getting a little bit of this insight, like, so Tara Alicia was an influencer. Good to know. And I thought it was interesting that Lee decided to give up this information so quickly. Mm-hmm. And I don't know whether it was the fangirling or just like feeling safe enough with like Lance Bass to be like, oh yeah, Tara Alicia's my big sister. She saved me.
I don't
For all
know.
you know, Savannah saved you. You haven't had a one-on-one conversation with Tara Alicia at this point. So like, yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird moment.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe giving the information will work out in Lee's benefit or River, but I would have waited just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Because I would have waited for Lance to tell me or ask me questions so I could see where his head is. Because like, if you're asking me this, apparently this is on your mind, and so you want to know who the influencers, what you know, who was what, how the house dynamics are working, and so I would wait for you to come to me and ask me before I just willingly give up information. And that's what I think is going to be Lee's like issue in this game. Like, he has Tara Alicia, like Tara Alicia has Lee. I don't ever think Lee is going to change his mind about Tara Alicia unless Tara Alicia does something to make that happen. Like, Tara Alicia has to really betray Lee in order for Lee to be like, okay, no, Tara Alicia's not. Because right now she has him in her back pocket. Yeah. And Lee is going to always be faithful, just like Delisha was very much with Savannah, and Courtney was very much with Savannah. Chloe is very much with Terlisha, and Emily is doing what Emily was doing and riding that middle, going back and forth. And it's like, I don't see Lee change, but I would have waited to say something, to wait, like, hold on, let me see where your head is at. Like, what do you want to know about the game? So you can see what he's asking. Because what if he was, you know, if he's leaning a certain way, you could be like, okay, I can fangirl, but I'll keep him at a distance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, oh, wait.
Absolutely.
I think coming in as Lance Bass really took people's guard down a bit.
So, I mean, some people just don't believe it all together. Like, Delisha does not believe it's Lance at all, which I would probably felt the same way. Like, I don't believe that's Lance Bass. But even not believing it's Lance Bass, which I probably wouldn't, I still would want to keep that person on my side. So I can, like, whoever it is, I just need them to rank me high. I don't care if I believe you're who you are. I just want you to rank me high. So come on in, Lance Bass. Wink, wink. And I'm going to be buddy up with you. And I think Lee might, but see, Lee, like you said, Jordan, it could have worked out for Lee giving that information out, because now Lance may feel like, oh, this person trusts me enough to tell me information I didn't ask for. So we just have to see how it works out for him in the end.
Yeah. The other thing that I find interesting is, like, people aren't really believing that Lance is Lance, and I know it's a different level of celebrity, but everyone believes Chloe is Chloe. And while they're both, it's a different level of celebrity, but I find it interesting that so many people individually were like, I don't really know if this is Lance, but everyone's like, oh, this is absolutely Chloe. And I think it might have something to do with just the way that Chloe talks, because I do remember episode 1, someone was like, I think it was Savannah, was like, oh my god, she says babes, just like she did on Too Hot to Handle.
Babes. Yeah.
I think it's the same. I think it's the levels, like you said, because she was on one reality show. Why wouldn't she do another reality show? That's not too far stretch. Not too far fetched stretch. But like, why would Lance Bass be on a reality show like The Circle? I mean, it's not the celebrity circle. It's not, because they do have celebrity circles. So why wouldn't he be on the celebrity circle and just regular old circle? So that's probably why it's harder to believe or easier to believe Chloe than it is Lance.
Yeah.
Also, and I think, like, I really do think during the brunch, when he was trying to get that joke across and it didn't land, I think that also helped put doubt in the rest of the group. Because Lance would have donated.
Of course, and he would have said it, like, because they always talk about NSYNC's charities that they have. It's the NSYNC Foundation. So anytime you want to promote a charity, which celebrities do, you always would say it. So if he was definitely Lance Bass, Lance would have been like, yeah, I'm trying to do an NSYNC concert. No, I'm just playing. I'm just doing for the NSYNC charities because we, promoting all the charities that he does. And it would have been the perfect time. And even every celebrity know you promote any chance you get. You don't just let a promotion, free advertisement go by without saying something. So, yeah, it's just, it would have placed more seeds of doubt.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Lisa's going to do. I don't think, just based solely on the not donating the money comment, I honestly could see Lisa getting blocked within the next few episodes. Like the first opportunity Lisa is available to be blocked, it would genuinely depend on who the influencers are. And I think if it's anyone other than River,
I think it would also depend on the twists.
Because and we'll get into it because there are twists.
Because twists are coming. I feel like Lisa can go early I felt she's not talking to people. She's not connecting to people. Like I haven't seen but the one conversation with River. Maybe it's the episodes and we're just not seeing everything, but they only showed her to have a real one-on-one conversation with River. So it's like, are they talking to people? Are they connecting to people? Or are you just doing it in group settings? You can't just talk in group settings. You have to talk in one-on-one with people and get, have that connection. And so either we're not seeing it yet and it's going to happen in other episodes, or she's not connecting. And that's a problem.
Well, there's the basketball game with Trevor, which we'll talk about when we get to episode 4. But that's really the only other thing. I completely agree with you, but I have thoughts about that when we get there. So we get, after this, like, River Lance fangirling moment, Savannah goes to Courtney and is like, Tara Alicia tried to take you out. And I'm just like, yes, Savannah, this is the way to play it. Like, if you have this sort of connection with Courtney, go to Courtney and be like, hey, Tara Alicia is questioning my loyalty to Girl Gang. Like, she can't count on the Girls Alliance at this point. They now have an alliance to try to take out Tara Alicia. And then on the flip side, Tara Alicia goes to Chloe and Emily in this True Colors chat and is saying Savannah's not 100% with Girl Gang. She tried to get Chloe out, which isn't necessarily the case. She just didn't save her and then wasn't advocating for her in the hangout.
She was able to plant the seeds of doubt with Emily and Chloe.
Yeah. So, it's really, both of them are telling the truth, but both of them are not being completely truthful, because if this is my thing, if you set up an alliance called the Girl Gang, exactly. If you set up the alliance called Girl Gang and you have the opportunity to save the girls, then you should have saved the girls. See, Savannah should have just saved Chloe and let whoever save
Trevor.
Teresa say, yeah.
Well, it would have been Trevor up for it would have been Trevor up for the blocking instead of Chloe.
I'm saying if
I don't think Trevor would have got blocked.
I don't think so either, because I feel like if Savannah would have just saved Chloe over Trevor and had Terralisha save Emily, all the girls would have been saved, and she would have avoided all of that drama with Terralisha had nothing she could have threw on, had nothing she could have put on her. But also in the influencer room, Savannah wasn't really pushing hard to keep Chloe. She was just like, I guess we could keep Chloe. It wasn't like, look, Chloe has to stay. So let's, because I'm good with girl gang. She was just kind of like, I mean, I feel like if Terralisha would have said Chloe could go, I feel like
Chloe would have
went. And I think Savannah would have been perfectly happy with Chloe going. So in all honesty, Savannah didn't really push hard for Chloe, but she just didn't say Chloe needs to stay. So Terralisha wasn't lying, but she also wasn't being 100% honest. It was just, like you said, selective, like little bits and pieces. Like she took her hesitation as you don't really want to keep her, and then just relayed that message back to Chloe. So.
And I do understand that the point Savannah made when she saved Trevor is that if she had saved Chloe, would it then have been a gender divide? And that's where I think it would have been interesting if the girls had all stuck together, and if it had been the 4 guys up for the blocking, would there now be sort of like a gender divide, and is Trevor a better ally for Savannah? Well, not really anymore. We'll get there. But would Trevor have been a better ally for Savannah moving forward as opposed to Chloe? I guess we'll never know. But I did understand the point that she made in the blocking. But also, I do agree with you, Lana. Like, that probably would have been the safer way to go. And then the events of episode 4 probably wouldn't have happened. So
it would have showed that you meant what you said about the alliance. And if you're going to make an alliance, then you need to stick to the alliance. Like, it literally was the same day. You made the alliance, and then the same day you had the opportunity to save your whole alliance at one time, and you chose not to do it. And I don't think, and to answer your question, I don't think anybody would have been like, oh, it's a gender bias now, divide, because it's like, they only had the opportunity to save one person. So they couldn't save everybody. They could only save one person. And if they would have said, if she was like, I just had a closer connection with Chloe, nobody would have thought two things about it. Like, oh, they just had a connection. And then the blocking happened. She could have saved Trevor. And I still think it would have been Bryant to go, but it would have made her time a whole lot easier if she just stuck to the alliance. Because if I was
she would have stayed around longer.
I think so too, because if I was in the game and I just made an alliance with you, and then you turn around and have the opportunity to save me from everybody in the alliance at one time, and you choose not to save me, I'm now doubting you. I don't care what you say afterwards. I'm now doubting you, because it's like, you had the opportunity to save me, and you chose to save this person over me. So I don't believe you anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. So after this lovely True Colors chat, we get Circle Fest. Ooh. And we get a good old game of Truth or Dare, which was something else.
That turned into something.
But before it turned into a real big mess.
Before we turned it into that, I just want to bring up, am I the only one that thought you look like Ozzy Osbourne in that wig?
I agreed.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh, it looked like Ozzy. But yeah.
I was just like, some of the outfits, I thought Savannah looked good. I love Delisa's entire outfit. I was I'm not that I wasn't anti-Delisa before, but Delisa is slowly like turning, like Terralisha is my top, and like Courtney's up there, but Delisa's starting to move her way up there for me.
I'm agreeing. I was nervous when Delisa at first, but I was like, the more episodes I watched, I was like, okay, I'm feeling Delisa a little bit more, and she's making more sense. Like, I feel like, at the beginning, I was like, I ain't nobody gonna believe she's a man, because she was saying things and I'm like, that is not what a man would say in this moment.
Yeah.
But I think she realized, okay, I gotta be Trevor, think like Trevor, speak like Trevor, because she was getting very girly, especially talking to Savannah. I was like, girl, you finna blow this whole thing. No man is finna get into these deep feelings like you doing. Like, reel it back in, be the man. But yeah, but she's getting there with me.
Yeah, so we get a cute River chooses truth in the game. Who's going to be an influencer next? Emily, because everyone loves her.
That was very safe.
Sure.
That was very safe. She's in the middle.
Courtney's dare, which I think was my favorite personally, put on as many articles of clothing as you can in 2 minutes. I was like, he easily could have said any number,
right? I put on,
and it would have been fine. I put on 30 shirts and I only brought 12. Like, that would have been a cute moment to like make a joke out of it and maybe get in like
all right. I'm putting like everything in my closet on right now.
Every single thing. Emily chooses dare, and it's send an emoji to your BFF, and she's going back and forth. Well, he's going back and forth between Chloe and Terralisha. Ultimately decides on Chloe, and sends her the dynamite emoji, and then Chloe is like, babe, I've got you to the end. Oh, that's a better accent.
Ooh.
That's a better accent than my Friday episode. My accent was bad on Friday. Like, it was bad.
That was good.
But yeah, and Jack is instantly like, oh, I don't need people knowing that. Everyone but Chloe knows that that she's my number one. And I was like, not this. And then we get into good lord, Terralisha chooses truth.
I would have picked there.
Circle. I mean, if I'm Terralisha, she goes, should I be messy? Okay, fuck it. And I was like, yes. So Terralisha is asked, and the circle's messy for this one, which I love. Asks who is the biggest game player. She says Savannah, because Savannah didn't keep her promise. And then, of course, in typical reality TV fashion, the next question, oh my God, shocker, it's Savannah's turn.
Ooh.
And Savannah also chooses truth because she's got nothing to hide. And the question is, who do you trust the least? And then we get cliffhanger. But immediately episode 4, so it's fine.
I'm like, is it really that like cliffhanger-ish? Because we knew who she was going to say. It was like, we were like, I'm shocked she said Terralisha. Like, nobody was shocked.
I would have been shocked. I would have been shocked if she had said someone like River. Like, that would have been the real shocker. But
angry if she would have picked somebody else. Like, who do you trust? Who do you trust the least? I don't trust River. Like,
I don't trust Trevor.
Funny
like, that would have been
just dived and took the bait into the drama.
I would have just chose dare. I was just chose dare, but like, you know what? Right? I don't need that, because honestly, when you get into those group chat sets and start fighting, that just makes the two people fighting look the worst, because everybody's gonna pick a side, and it's like, as we saw, Chloe was like, "Ah, get her Terralisha, I don't want," and they're like, "Oh, get her Savannah." It just doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't benefit your game to get into an argument in a group chat. Like, if I'm gonna argue with you, I'm doing it privately, so nobody else can see that.
Yeah. So to no one's surprise, Savannah says Terralisha is the person that she trusts the least, mentioning that she says one thing and does another. And she mentions that Savannah is the only reason some people are here. And by some people, she meant Courtney. And really only Courtney.
Only Courtney.
And then the thing that I was the most upset about was just that Terralisha did not defend herself at all.
No.
I really wish she would have said something. I feel like she let
Those
that moment
watching
pass.
currently, what did you guys think of the drama?
Are you team Terralisha? Are you team Savannah? Are you team Lance Bass? Let us know in the comments below. So like you were saying, Lana, this kind of develops this like Team Savannah versus Team Terralisha thing, where we have Courtney and Trevor kind of on Team Savannah. We've got River and Chloe kind of on Team Terralisha. Lance is obviously in the middle because Lance has been there for 52 seconds.
Right.
And then Emily, which I actually really did like this from Jack. I don't know how it's going to benefit him moving forward, but he goes, I'm just going to play both sides. And if they both think that I'm friends with them, then they're going to rate me high. And that's what I want to see. And I was like, as much as I may not like Jack, I appreciated the move.
The move was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you, like you said, you need them to rank you high. So you know they're not going to rank each other high. So I need somebody to put me up there, and if as many people as you can to rank you highest, it's the best. So yeah, I'm gonna say Savannah, I got you. To Alicia, I got you. Until after the rankings, when I have to pick a side and figure out what I'm gonna do. One of y'all finna go, because I don't need both of y'all here.
And the problem with the strategy is that Chloe was involved in both chats, and we'll get to that chat. So post Truth or Dare, we get a Trevor and Savannah chat the next morning. Trevor's like, hashtag I'm always here for you. And then we get that cute scene with Savannah from the initial trailer being like, heart emoji, crying emoji, heart emoji, crying emoji. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is where this fits in. Cool. But it's just like a reinforcement of the Trevor and Savannah connection. And then for some reason, Terralisha decides that she's going to start a chat with Courtney.
I mean, I understand why. You have to talk to everybody. Yeah. And because Courtney and Terralisha hadn't had a conversation up until this point. Mm-hmm. And that is why I was also like, Courtney, why are you mad at Terralisha? Because she's trying to get rid of you. You yourself admitted y'all have not spoken up until this point. Like, this is the first conversation you had with each other. So to get mad that she wanted you out, she didn't have a connection with you. So that shouldn't have shocked you. If Savannah would have came to me and said, she wanted to get rid of you, I'm like, I get it. I haven't talked to her. We don't know each other. We ain't talked. We don't have that connection. I'm not mad like you try to get me out. It is what it is. We just haven't talked. So I don't understand the animosity Courtney has for Terralisha right now, or about this whole situation when you haven't talked. And then the whole, I'm just going to have a fake Kiki with you. Like, okay, why are we having a fake Kiki? Just have a Kiki because you just have not spoken. You don't know each other. So it just didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand
What's
what
the
the
need to have a fake Kiki?
I don't know.
I don't know. The part that I loved was when Courtney was like, so what role did you play in keeping me? I was like, oh, we're asking the big questions today. Okay.
And I appreciated Terralisha was like, none, because I hadn't spoken to you then at that time.
I had no relationship with you, but I also had no negatives.
And that is exactly what she told Savannah. She said, I don't know him. I have nothing negative to say about Courtney. And I just don't have any reason to keep him. I just don't know him. And I have nothing negative about him. He don't have to go. I'm fine with him staying. I'm fine with him leaving. Either way. So that's what I was like, Savannah was making it seem like she was gunning for Courtney, like Courtney can go. She was like, no, I just don't have anything negative or positive to say about him. I just don't know him. He likes Switzerland to me. He's neutral. I don't know him. But it was weird, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then at this point, we get part 2 of Girl Gang Gate, as I'm going to call it. We get the real talk chat. We get the real talk chat with Chloe, Emily, and now Savannah. Savannah is obviously trying to get into the good graces of Chloe and Emily because of the whole girl gang situation. Chloe here playing a really pivotal role, being like, well, what do you think, Emily? Well, what do you think, Emily? And I'm just like, thank you, Chloe, Chloe's the first person to clock that, like, oh, Emily's playing both of these girls equally.
Yeah.
And it happened a little bit more further on in the episode. We'll get there, but Emily's like, absolutely, Savannah, I've got your back over Terralisha. Hashtag Peapod Squad. Now, who the hell is going to name their alliance the Peapod Squad?
So dumb.
No, I would not.
No, me neither. Not Peapod Squad. That's kind of
Peapod Squad.
Peapod Squad. Just because it rhymes don't make it.
Squad. Peapod Squad. Maybe the emphasis, if you change the emphasis, maybe.
Just because it rhymes does not make it cute. Rhyming does not make it cute. It's just that was the ugliest name. But I don't know. Jack with Emily with Jack. I feel like I like the middle ground playing, but you can't play the middle if you're going to have somebody else in there who's not playing the same middle as you. Like, Chloe is not playing the middle. Chloe chose her side. She does not like Savannah. She has made it very obviously and very clear that she does not like Savannah. And so for Emily to be in two chats with two different people and you saying the same thing with the same people involved, Chloe sees that. She's like, Emily just told Terralisha, we're good, we're great, we're golden. And then you flip right around and tell Savannah, we're good, we're great, we're golden. I was sitting there like, girl.
I am interested to see moving forward what Chloe does with that information. I don't know if it'll be anything, but I am interested to see what happens with that information. Something that was cute, though, this conversation wasn't, but something that was cute was two women catfishing as two men playing tiny basketball. And I was on board. I was like, this is adorable. I loved it. Delisa wins over Lisa. But the part that was questionable to me is Lance goes and is like, so what's up with Terralisha and Savannah? And Trevor's just like, yeah, bro, I don't know. Seems like girl drama to me, LOL. And I'm just like, okay. And then Lance is like, but they seem like really like upset at each other. And I'm just like, Lisa, why are you digging right now? Like, this does not feel like the right place to dig, nor is it the right time, honestly.
She's digging her early grave.
Yeah, I'll go back and forth with that because, like, I feel like we're getting to the point where it's like when we're catfishing as guys, we're like, women always like, guys are so closed off, they don't talk about. But if you talk to guys like sometimes we talk, we open up with each other sometimes. And just to ask, she really didn't say anything that was out of the way to me, just asking what's up with the drama because they just witnessed it during the
but also like I feel like because Lance is gay, maybe Lisa was like, oh, maybe I can talk about feelings a little bit more.
Lance,
it was still the wrong decision, but maybe that's what her reasoning was.
I think she could have done this, but with a different person. I think someone like if she had gone to maybe Courtney, maybe Chloe, or River even, like I feel like Trevor is not the right person to go to, but I guess I do understand why she went to Trevor sort of as, I don't know, I guess one of the alphas. We don't really have like there's no real like alpha male figure here, which is also another interesting
alpha females the figures,
which is great. I love to see it. But it's interesting because on most Circle seasons, there ends up being this sort of like father figure to a lot of people in the Circle. And other than the Trevor and Savannah relationship, we don't really get that sort of like fatherly energy yet. We may get that with someone else in the future, but we're not really getting that energy, which I find very interesting. And I guess that was sort of Lisa's way of sort of insinuating, well, maybe Trevor is that sort of person. And maybe I'll just go to Trevor and see, but I don't think it was the right person to go to.
I mean, I think she figured that since they were in that bonding moment of playing basketball, that you can bring up something like, hey, so tell me what's going on in the house. Now, he should have worded it differently instead of just bringing up directly Talisha and Savannah. Like, so how's the dynamics in this house? I'm still trying to feel my way through. Tell me what's happening, what's going on. And then maybe Trevor would tell him, how the dynamics in the group are. But to just bring up those two, it looks a little gossipy and a little so maybe, I agree. Wrong person, not a bad question.
Yeah.
Just the wrong person.
Yeah. And with that, we get another alert! 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 Because it's time to do some ratings. So the little bit of a breakdown we got from the ratings, we have Emily and Chloe both putting each other as their first. We have Lance putting Trevor first, just as someone that he feels he can trust, which I understand that. Courtney
after the baseball thing, basketball.
Sports. That. We have Courtney putting River second. Trevor is putting Chloe second. River is putting Emily third. Emily put Savannah fourth, which I found interesting. 4th out of 6 was an interesting placement for Emily specifically. I'm interested to see where Emily put everyone else. Because those rankings are the ones that I'm the most interested in, honestly. We have Savannah putting Emily 5th, and then Courtney putting Talisha 6th, and River putting Savannah 6th, because obviously they're on the other team. Duh. Not surprised by this in the slightest.
No surprise.
Did y'all think there were any surprises with where people were rated?
Not really.
No, it seemed to make sense for me.
Yeah.
I do find going forward, it's interesting to see where everyone fell when it was all audited out.
Yeah. The only one that I didn't understand until the next segment before we get the overall ratings, the one that I found questionable at that point was Courtney putting River second. But then we immediately right after that get this, which apparently is a 3 amigos group with Chloe, Courtney, and River, which to my knowledge had never been brought up before.
It was not.
Then, okay, cool. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, have we seen a group chat with them yet? No. But Chloe teaching Courtney and River British phrases, which I loved. A nice little lighthearted segment before we get another alert. Oh my God, an alert. I need to make a banner for the next time that just says alert. I'm mad that I haven't done that yet. Alert, because
somebody
we
sounds
have
like they're playing
results.
Among Us.
Meeting alert.
Alert. So we get some rating results. And in 7th is Talisha. From first.
You go from the bottom to the top. Or the top to the bottom.
The top to the bottom. But yeah, and she's, in her words, fucking disgusted. And honestly, I was too. As a Talisha fan, I was also disgusted.
She should be.
6th is Savannah, and Savannah's celebrating, and then it's like, oh, I'm 6th. But I'm not last. I'm not last.
I was like, girl, you still worse. You still bad.
Yeah. We have Courtney in 5th, and we got River in 4th, which is kind of where they both fell. They tied for 4th in the first ranking, so I wasn't really surprised that they ended up there again. And we end up with Chloe, Emily, and Trevor again in the top 3.
Trevor's in the top 3 again, making me think Trevor is good with almost everybody.
It seems to be.
Yeah. I think Trevor is... people are comfortable and not threatened by Trevor yet. So they have no reason to rank him low, but he has no reason to be ranked number 1 or 2 in their eyes.
Yeah.
So
which is And that's Delisa's strategy going in. That's all she said in her intro package. Like, I want Trevor to be sort of this like non-threatening figure that everyone's gonna get along with. And so far, Delisa is executing her strategy flawlessly, which I love.
Flawlessly.
Unfortunately for her, Trevor just couldn't secure the bag in this situation, and our influencers are Chloe and Emily, with Chloe coming first. Not really a shocker to me. I was kind of surprised that Emily was up there.
Right.
But given the other relationships, I wasn't wholly surprised.
She played it. Jack played it where everybody was going to rank her at least in the high side of their rankings because she was playing everybody, all sides. Terralisha was like, if Emily is there, I'm good. Savannah was saying, if Emily is there, I'm good. And everybody else was like, I have no problem with Emily. So she placed herself in a very good spot to be an influence because everybody was like, they felt good with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, we move into the hangout. Immediately go to the hangout. No questions.
Right.
And once they're there, they bring up Trevor first. They kind of immediately are like, we like Trevor. We're not getting rid of Trevor. And then they do the same thing with Courtney. And I found it interesting that Chloe gave up this information about this Three Amigos alliance, I guess you could call it, with Courtney and River. And the whole time we're getting sort of like this back and forth of like Chloe and Emily like really recognizing each other's games. And we get Jack saying, oh, I didn't realize Chloe had this much of a handle on the game up until now, like from what she's telling me, which I love for Chloe, but I don't love for Chloe because now Emily knows this information. I feel like we could see another instance where the influencers are going to go at each other in subsequent episodes. And we may see an Emily versus Chloe sort of situation moving forward. And ultimately the decision comes down to Terralisha and Savannah, just because they want to quell the drama that's happening. They talk about how Savannah may be a little bit more loyal if they keep her, and that Terralisha may have stepped in to like confuse the situation since Savannah didn't keep Chloe in the initial saving portion. And then during this whole situation, we get a Savannah and Terralisha chat. Terralisha's like, well, why'd you lie? And Savannah's like, well, I didn't. And Terralisha's like, I'm just going to leave the chat. And I was like, loved. What did y'all think about all of the things pre-blocking?
What I thought was funny was Terralisha started it and then left.
I was like, so clearly you're not getting what you want out of this conversation. So
I mean, I would have wanted them to like even maybe squash it. Right, even to squash it like whatever. Or just, you know what, we just go agree to disagree and just wrap it up.
Well, Savannah did say agree to disagree, and Terralisha was like, I'm gonna leave the chat instead. Like,
I mean, maybe that was her answer. Okay, we'll agree to disagree. Bye. But she should, I mean, I really
out.
Right, like I felt like the conversation could have been more, but I just don't think neither one of them really wanted it. Or Terralisha definitely didn't want it. Terralisha was like, I'm done. Nah.
Yeah. So we do get the second blocking. Emily is giving the decision because Chloe was like, by all means, babes.
You asked.
I don't have to do it. Exactly. You asked. And so Emily is talking about how it's just to quell the drama, bring back the harmony of the group, and unfortunately, Savannah is our second player blocked from the circle. I am upset because I liked Savannah, but if it had to be Savannah or Terralisha, I am happy that Terralisha is still in the circle.
Bye.
Bye, Savannah.
Can I just say, I was never Team Savannah. Like, from the moment they came back from their influence, the hangout, I was just like, I just didn't like how she handled some situations, and that's just me personally. I was just like not a fan of Savannah, so she should go. And like I mentally prepared myself for it to be Terralisha. I was like,
same.
I was like, here you go. It's gonna be Terralisha. They finna kick her out because they feel like she's starting confusion. But I'm like, it wasn't really confusion. It was just what their versions of their truth. But I had mentally was sitting here like, it's gonna be Terralisha, and was literally shocked when it was Savannah. I was like,
I was not surprised that it was Savannah.
Yes. When we seen that it was like Emily and Chloe, I kind of got the vibe, like initially, that oh yeah, they were closer to Terralisha than Savannah. So like if they had to choose it, I assumed it would be
Savannah. I go in with my heart like the worst is always gonna happen. I hope for the best, but pretty much think it's gonna always be the worst. So I'm like, it's gonna be Terralisha. All right. And then I'm like, honestly surprised when it's not. And I'm like, yes.
I think at the end of the day, Chloe's relationship with Terralisha was stronger than Emily's relationship to Savannah. And I think that's ultimately what it ended up being. And I'm sad to see Savannah go, but I am happy that Terralisha is still in. Savannah gets to go visit one person, but the circle specifically says
who you
want to go visit
win.
the person you want to win. And so she's deciding between Courtney and Trevor, and only decides to go visit Courtney. I loved this whole interaction with them because I love them both. I thought this was cute. There's not really a whole lot to talk about, especially with it, until Savannah leaves. And we get another alert. There's another alert, y'all. Another
alert.
And Courtney is asked to go to the inner circle. What the fuck is the inner circle? What is it?
So go ahead.
The inner circle looked like the same place Miss Emma Willis was in.
Yeah.
For the UK version.
Yes, that's the first time I saw that.
That was interesting to me. But what is
the inner circle? What is the inner circle where he's be able to look into people's apartments now? Is that like, does that take away the integrity of what we're doing in the circle?
I think it's going to be chats. I don't think it's going to be like actually seeing inside the apartment. I think it's going to be, you can snoop on private chats. I think that's what it's going to be.
Oh.
That makes the most sense for me.
Yeah, because it will make no sense for him to be able to see inside the apartments, because that will take away the backup. Like, I see you're not Lance Bass. I see you're not Trevor. It will take away from that. So I think you're right about the chats, and they get to read private chats, which would be still kind of iconic, still cute, still amazing.
I love that Courtney has this specifically. I think Courtney, because he doesn't really have a lot of autonomy now that Savannah's gone. He's going to have a lot of rebuilding work to do. So I think being able to have access to the inner circle is going to give him that opportunity to sort of like see what's going on, see where some of the bigger dynamics are, and then see if he can break that up or like find a way into some of the bigger or the stronger relationships.
Yes.
And then previews for the next episodes that we get on Wednesday. I literally can't wait. I need them right now. We get 2 new players. One generically handsome white man that I am honestly kind of excited to see because he looks very attractive. That's just me. We get a double blocking Shook. We get a lot of stuff with the inner circle. Courtney's talking about getting out snakes. The Joker, we get the reveal. We saw it in the trailer, but we get the reveal of the Joker, whatever the Joker is. I think personally it's going to have something to do with the inner circle situation. I see those 2 twists being very intertwined. And then a lot of tears, especially from Jack, Courtney, and Chloe. So I am very, very excited to see
I
what.
am so excited for the next batch of 4.
Me too.
Yes.
I want to see what all this is, and because me personally, I feel like maybe Emily's all this in between is going to come to a head, and Emily is going to be exposed. I think that's why we're
I hope
getting a lot
so.
of cheers from Jack. I kind of hope so too, because I feel like Emily played so hard to be in the middle, and like it's just
Mhm.
I don't know. It wasn't even like I'm like a slick kind of. I'm just in the middle,
Exposed.
right? I think she
Yeah.
might just be exposed, and I feel like maybe Courtney. Hopefully, I don't know. I would love to see Courtney find out some stuff, some truths about what he thought his, was not,
Mhm.
because like I still don't believe Tara Alicia was out to get him. It's just they just didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some truths about that conversation. I don't know. What if they can go back and see past conversation? That would be amazing.
That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
But yeah,
Or
I'm
with
so
that,
in the
excited.
circle. Oh, what if they said what the influence said? Like they get the influence chats.
oh,
That would be something too.
I don't know what it will be, but we will know when we go live next Friday at 10:30 p.m. EST. We'll be back. I think we're gonna have Sean back on for Fridays. I think we may have Lana consistently for some Sundays. I think y'all will be seeing more of Lana. I think we can guarantee that right now.
Yeah.
But Lana, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Your insight is amazing as always. We appreciate you. And yes, let me switch back to the Twitters real quick. Follow all of us. You can follow at the Fallout TV for the podcast, all of us individually. And with that, goodbye.
Circle and chat.